Morning, peeps. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Hopefully everyone is doing very, very well. I've not done today in boxing, I think, for a couple of days. So grab your coffee, people. This might be a long one. I don't know if there are any decent stories to talk about. I'm sure there must be, right? But yeah, get a coffee, put your feet up, and let's do this. By the way, I tweeted yesterday, and it went a bit viral actually, one of these tweets. Like, I get quite good Twitter interaction, and not like this. So I tweeted a picture of Jorge Masvidal and Kamaru Usman. The UFC announced a couple of days ago that Jorge Masvidal will replace Burns and fight Usman for the welterweight title. And I tweeted that MMA is about to give us Masvidal versus Usman during COVID, and that boxing is testing all my patience. It really is. It's testing all my patience. Not only are they giving us, and I say us because I'm a big MMA fan as well, not only are they giving us Usman versus Masvidal, also on that same card, not a different card, same card, is Volkanovski versus Holloway rematch, title fight. Aldo versus Petrayan, title fight. Rose Namajunas, former champion, is back fighting Andrade. And there's other bits on that card as well. That's what MMA is giving us during COVID. And it's funny because I've read some of the comments underneath that tweet. By the way, that tweet got over 1,000 likes, which for me is a bit rare. But I read some of the comments, and it was obviously hardcore boxing fans, right? And they were saying things like, yeah, but boxing will always be bigger than MMA. All right, stay there. If that's what you think, stay there. That's almost like, I'm trying to think of what that's like. Okay, that's almost like Arsenal, Man City. That's what it's like for me, right? Arsenal are a bigger club than Man City, no doubt, right? No doubt. Arsenal's trophy cabinet tells me they're a bigger club. Man City, with this new money being pumped in, are now one of the biggest clubs in the world, right? I mean, look what they've been winning in the last sort of 7-8 years. It's been domination. It really has been domination. They haven't got the Champions League, but apart from that, it's been domination pretty much. And that's what it reminds me of. Like, Arsenal are the bigger club, and ever so often, Arsenal will do something. They will win a trophy ever so often. They'll do something big. They'll turn up in a game and do something big. But right now, Man City are just doing big. It's true, Man City are doing that. Arsenal's probably a bad example because boxing gives us a bit more than what Arsenal does. But you must understand that, like, MMA or UFC, let's just say UFC because Bellator and ONE FC, we're not really talking about them that much, but we will. They're just producing big thing after big thing after big thing constantly. Like, honestly, I don't know if you guys are MMA fans, but to give us Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman is unreal. During COVID. It's unreal. So it's a joke right now. It's a joke. Boxing is so far away. It's a joke. It's a joke. All right, it's a joke. I don't know. And another thing is, like, obviously I done an Addy and Friends the other day where we were talking about pay-per-view because a lot of people have been speaking about pay-per-view. I've noticed, and again, I'm not in America, but I do have friends there, no one moans about the price of the UFC pay-per-view. It doesn't even come up, ever. Nothing. I've never ever heard anyone talk about the price of a UFC pay-per-view event, just because they know they're getting their money's worth. So it's not about the cost of the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view isn't the problem. We moan about what we're getting for that price. Fact. Like, this is what I don't think some of these people understand. Like, you could chuck the pay-per-view up, hear me out here, to £50. If you stack that card, we're not going to moan. Am I lying, people? We're not going to moan. True, we're not going to moan. Like, if they said, all right, pay-per-view is 50 quid. For that 50 quid, we're going to give you AJ Fury. Yeah, on the undercard of AJ Fury, we're going to give you Chisora Usyk. And yeah, below that, we're going to give you, I don't know, rematch between Billy Joe Saunders and Chris Eubank. And then, you're going to get, if it was like, take the money. Take it. Here, 50 quid, take it. We moan about the cost of the pay-per-view because we like, is that it? UFC are putting on free title fights. I don't know. Again, for those of you that don't think MMA is catching up boxing, you just need to go and look at the pay-per-view numbers of some of their events. Honestly, take your time. Just go and look at it. Compare it to boxing's most recent pay-per-view events. Just compare it. And then you'll realize that MMA is not just catching up. I would say it's bigger right now. It's bigger. It has the bigger stars. Like, there is no star in boxing bigger than Conor McGregor. Fact. None. You could even combine Canelo and Joshua together. He's just too big. He's too big. And with him, on the back of him, other stars have been created. Khabib has been created. Now we've got Jorge Masvidal, the Diaz brothers. Literally, there's just star after star in there. And look at what it's done with their females. If you want to compare something, look what MMA has done with its females compared to what's happened in boxing. Honestly, do it. Go and check. It's ridiculous. The gap is ridiculous. Boxing's a joke sometimes, man. Absolute joke. I feel like the fighters in the UFC, let's just say the UFC, might not be happy, right? Because they moan about the pay and what they're going to get paid. And I like the way Dana White deals with it. Like, no, we're not paying you anymore. We're not paying you anymore. And yes, some of them will argue and they, throw their toys at the pram, so to speak. And some of them say, oh, we're retiring, like a Henry Cejudo or whatever, like, I'm done. They come back. They'll argue, they'll get a bit more money, not a lot more, a bit more, and then they fight. Whereas I feel like it's the opposite in boxing. It's almost like boxers are so overpaid now. Let's be honest, some of them are so overpaid. It's almost like they're in control. And that's good for them, but it's not good for us, the fans, because we're not going to get the fights, people. We're not going to get the fights. If you're an MMA fan, you have probably in the last 3 years missed out on maybe 2 big fights that haven't happened, that you were screaming to happen. So you've missed out on Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. That's definitely one. And maybe the trilogy fight between John Jones and Daniel Cormier. That's it. You've got all your other wishes. You're as happy as Larry. All right. Let's have a look at this. So upset, mate, honestly. I'm so upset. I'm smiling as I'm doing the video, but I'm really pissed off because boxing is just crap. And my rant is still going. I don't know how long this is. And another thing that boxing has as an advantage over the UFC is, like, the UFC can't do fights against fighters from Bellator and ONE FC. And trust me, there are very good fighters in ONE FC and Bellator. Boxing has an advantage that it can do fights with anything, right? It can take a matchroom fight. It can go and fight a top-ranked fighter who can go and fight it can happen. So it's like these guys need to sit down and work this out, because right now it's losing. It's losing. You can tell by the cards that, no disrespect, but you look at the cards that UFC has come back with during COVID. Go and look at some of the fight cards. If you don't know your MMA, speak to someone that does. Send me an email, we'll have a chat about it. Go and look at the cards that some of these boxing promoters are putting on. It's lagging behind. Like, it's disgraceful, like lagging behind. And I bet you any money that the boxers are still getting paid more than the UFC fighters, but they're lagging behind in quality. All right, rant over for now. Billy Joe Saunders, I'd love the Andrade fight. There's unfinished business. I'm laughing because, again, if this was the UFC, which it isn't, that fight would have been done. They'd probably be on a trilogy by now. But anyway, Billy Joe Saunders, Andrade. All right, let's do it then, innit? I'm just tired of this. Honestly, I'd feel like throwing my fucking laptop out the window. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of just coming on here and speaking to you guys about these rumors that just never happen. Like, all right, Billy Joe Saunders, Andrade. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't. Why? Same promoter, right? They are. Matchroom, DAZN, Sky Sports, either way, whichever way you want to shuffle it, Andrade will come over here and fight. Billy Joe Saunders, we know, will travel. Signed to Eddie Hearn. Like, sure, this must be surely the easiest fight to make. It must. How easy must it be to make? Will it happen? Look at Luke Campbell, Ryan Garcia. I saw Rob Tebbit done a poll. I think he spoke to Mauricio Suleiman, but he done a poll, or he asked the question, sorry, does anyone think it will happen? And the amount of people that said no. I mean, that's a fight that's been ordered, but we're still like, don't think it's going to happen. That's the position we as boxing fans are in right now, where fights have even been ordered, and we're still like, don't think they're going to happen. Amir Khan open to the idea of a Marcus Maidana rematch. Ain't going to happen. Let's move on. I'm not even going to speak about things anymore that just ain't happening. It was pointless. It's pointless me feeding you lies, people. Yordenis Ugas, eager for WBA title clash. I'm finally getting justice. WBA, Pac-Man. WBA is Pac-Man, isn't it? Interesting. His name has never been linked to a Pac-Man fight. Pacquiao's not fighting Ugas. Fact. Right, it's not going to happen. Absolutely no way is he jumping the queue to fight. I don't care if he's a mandatory. I don't care what he is. There's no way he's jumping over everyone else that wants it. And Pac-Man's just going to choose Ugas, who arguably could be more dangerous than the rest of them. Ain't happening. What's this? Ryan Garcia versus Emmanuel Tago. WBO eliminator ordered. I saw this. Let's see which one he takes, right? Let's see which one he takes. The WBO would be to put him in a mandatory position to fight Lomachenko. That actually would be, I think that could actually be an embarrassing fight. Yeah, embarrassing. Him versus Lomachenko, not Emmanuel Tago. Good for him. He's in a good position right now. He's in a position where even if he doesn't fight Luke Campbell or Emmanuel Tago, he's a guy that we are interested in seeing fight, which is a very good position. Obviously, I want to see him go down the Luke Campbell route. We'll see, right? He says he wants to fight. Luke says he wants to fight. Eddie definitely wants that fight for Luke. Does Oscar want that fight for Ryan? Right? I mean, if Oscar says he wants to fight, then it's all four parties saying they want the fight. Luke will travel. We know that. Ryan Garcia is not going to come over here. Luke will happily travel. He's traveled before. He'll travel again. What's the problem? What's the problem? The problem is if one of those four are just talking crap and don't really want the fight. That's the problem. Yeah, we'll see. Junior Witter, I had a very good chance of beating Mayweather in 2006. What was Mayweather to? It was, sorry, 1 second, people. I want to see who Mayweather fought in around that time before I can judge that statement as BS or fact. Witter was a dangerous guy. Let's not BS about it. Good little switch hit. Switched hit too much though. Like when he fought, it was like too much. Like calm down, Mr. Witter. All right, 2006. Floyd had just beaten Zab Judah, then Carlos Boldemir, then Oscar De La Hoya later. He ain't beating that Floyd. He's not beating that Floyd. He's not. No, I mean, look, you never know, right? Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but he's not beating that Floyd. That Floyd there was just still had a lot to prove, right? Just entered that echelon as being a big name, The Arturo Gatti fight. Remember, he was the B-side in the Gatti fight, by the way. B-side. Then, obviously, jumping into the Zab fight. He was still proving himself as a draw. So he was hungry. Not that he never was hungry in his career, but there he was uber hungry. Ain't beating that Floyd. Fast Floyd. Junior Witt was fast. That's fast Floyd, right? Even the way he made adjustments in the Zab Judah fight, that was a very, very good Zab Judah. Very good. I know that Zab had just been beaten by Boldemir, but still, that was a very good Zab Judah. Fast, all right? Very powerful, spiteful, aggressive, everything you'd want. But we all knew that Zab could only do that for 4 or 5 rounds, and Floyd knew that as well. So Floyd weathered the storm, got knocked down, but then just made adjustment after adjustment after adjustment, and eventually pulled away. Hence why Zab got a bit upset and started doing low blows. You're not beating that. I would have liked to have seen Junior Witter versus Ricky Hatton. That would have been interesting, but yeah, no. Some story here about David Lemieux saying he will not fight Canelo Alvarez on the cheap. Boxing has a huge problem. I don't know how, I don't know how it's happened with the finances in boxing. Honestly, if someone was to open the business of boxing, they'll realize that it's all making a loss. That no one's making any money here in terms of promoters and TV networks. I don't think, unless it's something huge, right? Like one of the Mayweather, Conor McGregor, or Mayweather Pac-Man, because it just seems as though everyone just wants to get paid big money, and I don't know. Like you got someone like David Lemieux saying he will not fight Canelo Alvarez on the cheap. Who the fuck is David Lemieux? Anyway, next. Jerry Forrest on Jarrell Miller's PED use. That's attempted murder in my eyes. That's very interesting. That is very, very interesting. You know what, yeah? If they were to fight, or if they did fight, sorry, and Jarrell Miller bashed Jerry Forrest, bashed him, like brutal, and then it came out later that Jarrell Miller had taken PEDs for that fight, and then Jerry Forrest took it the legal route. I don't know if it would be attempted murder, but I'm telling you now, like a lawyer would have a good case of calling it something, right? Surely. No? What do you guys think? Because I'm with Jerry Forrest. I don't know about attempted murder. Well, we have some fighters die in the ring, but I don't know if it's attempted murder, but there is a strong case there that it's not, it goes past just sanctioning bodies and bans and being kicked out of the sport for a while. It goes way past that. Someone's going to get sent to jail soon. If they beat someone to a pulp and it comes out that they have taken performance-enhancing drugs and a legal team can prove that these performance-enhancing drugs aid in strength and all that, stamina, it's going to be interesting. What else have we got here? Derevyanchenko has been offered fights with Jamal Charlo and Canelo Alvarez. All right, next. Not that that's not a good story. It's a good story, but I feel like I've touched on that already, haven't I? What's this? Luke Campbell, Ryan Garcia's social media followers won't help him in the ring. Yeah. No, they won't. Obviously, Ryan Garcia knows this, man. Let's stop. It's like we're kind of dissing Ryan Garcia here for having social media followings. I think some of these boxers should take heed from Ryan Garcia and grow some effing social media followers yourself. It will help you. Not in the ring, but outside it will help you. Do we have anything else to talk about here? 2 secs, peeps. I'm just seeing if we've got anything else. I did see Mr. Mauricio Suleiman say that that 110% will be Dillian White. Well, Dillian White's got to get past Povetkin. Say that again. It will be though, if he gets past Povetkin, he will be the man to fight the winner of Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. So 100% he's going to get his opportunity, which is very, very good. Let's just see what what comes of the Povetkin fight. I've got a sneaky feeling, you know. Sneaky feeling. Don't know why I done that. Why did I do that like it's a secret? It's not a secret. I just have a sneaky feeling that Povetkin might beat Dillian White. Don't know why. I just feel like every time you're so close to something in boxing, someone just pulls the rug underneath your feet, don't they? Just pull it. And I've got a feeling that that will happen. I don't know if I'm going to do any timestamps for this because I feel like I've been speaking about different stuff all over the place. Okay, let's end on this one, and it's a question. Should amateur records count in evaluating greatness? Should amateur records count in evaluating greatness? Yeah, I think they should. I don't agree with people who say it's a different sport. It's not a different sport. It's boxing. You know what I mean? Let's not fucking pretend it's like. I think people act like it's tennis and badminton, right? Which are quite similar. It's not that. This is the same sport, and not only is it the same sport, but 9 times out of 10 you're fighting the same opponents, right? The guys you meet as an amateur, you sometimes meet as a pro. You have to travel, you have to cut weight, you have to do all those things. And no one is going to take away Loma's record for me and say it doesn't count, because it does. Like for what Loma, and we'll talk about Loma because he has the best amateur record of all time, but for what Loma achieved as an amateur, I just still find it incredible. What was it again? Is it 396 and 1? What is it again? Sorry, 1 second. I should know this, but amateur record. 396 and 1. How incredible is that? Sorry, you think I'm gonna discount that from? Nah, 396 and 1, and the one he avenged like 7 or 8 times. Lomachenko is going down as an all-time great. Like, stop his career right now, all-time great. Yeah, I'm not discounting that. I do think though, nowadays it is. It's not easier to win an Olympic medal. No, in fact, it's true. It's easier because what you had, I think, back in the day, is that it was almost a case of boxers would stay amateur for a shorter period and then turn pro, right? The dream was always to turn pro. You didn't get a lot of boxers back in the day go stay amateur past 23, 24. You didn't. It was almost a young man's game, and then you almost qualified to be a pro. Nowadays, you do get a lot of amateurs, so a lot of boxers stay an amateur for a lot longer period. So eventually, just almost by how many times they've had a go at an Olympic cycle, they will then turn pro. Does that make any sense? Like Audley Harrison's a good example of someone that actually wasn't a very good amateur, but just stayed as an amateur for so long, right? And qualified, granted, won it at Sydney, but didn't he win like the heavyweight class or super heavyweights like 30 or 31? Where others have kind of just decided to go pro. Others that would have beaten him decided to go pro. Does that make any sense? So I do think it's a bit easier, but there's no way I'm discounting from his greatness 396 and 1. You'd be foolish to do that. Foolish. Unreal. So basically, throughout his whole boxing career, because I think he will retire with only just the one loss to leader, this guy has only lost amateur and pro twice. I don't know Rocky Marciano's record as an amateur, but I don't think there'll be anyone like that. Anyone. 400 fights as an amateur.